watching the Urban Debate, and Mera naam Faye D'Souza. Thank you for joining us and good evening. We bring you a story of a long march. 180 kilometers. Longer than any other marathon we might have celebrated or talked about in any of our cities. Remember that there were no sports shoes. There was nobody handing out chilled water along the route and no prizes at the end. What they were massive sores on their feet, 3-4 days gone on biscuits and water, left behind families, children, fields that needed tending. And now these farmers will return. So this is where we are. After a half-hour meeting with the representatives of the farming community, the Chief Minister of Maharashtra agreed to 90% of the demands. Agreed in writing. The farmers asked him to give it to them in writing because he asked for a 6-month timeline. There are a couple of questions we must ask at this point. Was it necessary to make these farmers walk 180 kilometers if we knew what their demands were? If we knew these were not new demands? These were routine things that should have been done anyway. Was it necessary for them to walk all the way up to the tip of the island before the Chief Minister met them? Could he not have met them in Thane over the weekend? Could he not have met them outside of the city, or perhaps even in Nasik before they started their long walk? And finally, a 6-month deadline to meet all promises. The big question that we're asking tonight, Mr. Chief Minister, if you could do it in 6 months, why didn't you do it in 4 years? 4 years have come and gone since you took over, and you've obviously displayed on paper today with your signature on it that this is a 6-month job. You should have done it many times over. Will the promises now be kept? Or will these farmers get on a train to Nasik tonight with nothing but a memory of Mumbai and empty stomachs? Joining me on the show today, Kishore Tiwari, Chairman of the Maharashtra State Government Panel, who looks after specifically the handing out of farm loan waivers that were promised. Rahul Maske, leader of the Shetkari Sangathan, he's a farm activist. Raghunath Dada Patil is a farm leader. Santosh Mehrotra is an economist. Vishwas Pathak, spokesperson for the Maharashtra BJP. Himanshu is a professor at the Center for Economic Studies and Planning at JNU. And Mr. G. Chandrasekhar is a senior journalist who's tracked this particular sector for a very long time and is an expert in the matters of agriculture. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the show. I'm going to ask these questions right now of Mr. Vishwas Pathak, who represents the Maharashtra BJP. Mr. Pathak, if the Chief Minister, Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, could sign a paper today saying this will be done in 6 months' time, why wasn't it done in the 4 years that have come and gone before that?
See, basically all these issues which are raised by this long march were already in consideration. And before this march was to start, Government of Maharashtra has already offered them that why can't we discuss in Nasik only, why you come all along. And despite of that, they wanted to march towards Vidhan Sabha, which they did. And today, with whatever their demands were there, government has exceeded, and within 6 months' time, all will be implemented.
No. So, within 6 months' time, all will be implemented. So, if you had started in 2014, when you came to power, you would have finished in 2015. Give you a grace period of a year, you would have finished in 2016. We are now in 2018. Why has it taken so long?
See, again, I don't want to politicize, but this is culmination of last 70 years problem. And within 2-3 years, everything cannot be sorted out. So one by one, we are sorting out. And if you look at it, in 4 years' time, whatever we had done for agriculturists, it is more than what earlier government has done. So we are doing everything on priority wise. Like, loan waiver also. Just to make all these agriculturists credit worthy, we announced that loan waiver, and as of today, 36 lakhs people have been benefited with 14,000 amount already disbursed. So government is already acting, government is already taking care.
So you said the number is 35 lakh at this point, who
36
have
lakhs,
36
yeah.
lakh out of a total 1.3 crore farmers in the state of Maharashtra. So 36 lakh then is not a very large number if you consider the total number of farmers in Maharashtra, which is 1.3 crore. Also, if you're telling me that this is a problem of the last 70 years and it cannot be solved in 1 year or 2 years, then why did you promise in your manifesto?
See, whatever we have promised in limited way, we are implementing it. There could be farmers number over 1 crore, but the actual farmers who needed help, every farmer is not poor farmer. Actual farmers who needed help was in the range of 75 lakhs. Out of that, we got registration done. Whole our idea was that money should go to the proper beneficiary. We have to learn from the past experiences. In past experience, what has happened? Money was dispersed to the banks, and banks used it for their
Is this not
clearance
true
of the
that,
NPA.
that the number of farmer suicides have gone up drastically in the last 2 years, and the last 2 years are in fact the worst we have seen in Maharashtra? Maharashtra is the worst in the country in terms of farmer suicides.
See, it has not gone drastically. There are suicides, we don't deny that. At the same time, we don't claim that this loan waiver and everything will solve all the problems. However, to have a holistic approach in this agriculture field, government is taking step-by-step decisions. And if you look at it, in last 4 years budget of Maharashtra government has committed maximum funds as compared to earlier government. So we are committed towards the farmers of the state.
Don't you believe, Mr. Vishwas Pathak, that you should be at this point prioritizing in the state of Maharashtra, which we know is already in debt? Should you be putting a Shivaji memorial at 2,500 crore rupees, or should you be looking after our farmers? Should you be putting a bullet train, or should you be looking after our farmers? Where are the should you be looking after our farmers, or should you be allowing Nirav Modi to get out of the country, taking 12,000 crore rupees?
See, all three issues are very important what you are talking. As far as Shivaji statue is concerned, I don't think anybody is against having statue of the Shivaji Maharaj. So that is also mark of respect. It is, yes.
Shall we ask all of the panelists right now?
Rather, Congress wanted it.
Politicians want it for their own selfish needs. I'm not asking about politicians. Did you ask these farmers what they want?
You ask them.
You ask these farmers what they want?
The question should be whether they are against the statue of Shivaji Maharaj.
The question is about priorities.
Yeah.
No. See,
so
Mr. Pathak, I could make 500 rupees salary and then choose the priority of whether or not I want to use the money to feed my children or to paint my house.
So priority
Nobody will say you don't want to paint your house, but you don't keep your children hungry because you want to paint your house, right?
Priority is farmers only. Therefore, we have committed 34,000 crores for the loan waiver.
Where is this money going to come from?
13th, it's from taxpayer money only, from budget only. See, certain money has to come from budget only. If you are mixing up topic of this fast train or bullet train, in bullet train, budgetary support is not required. It can be on BOT basis. So development also has to take place. Whenever we talked about a railway train 100 years back, people talk about same thing. When we
so the Shivaji statue is coming from taxpayer money, which is my money. Yeah. Because I have paid my taxes.
So are you against Shivaji Maharaj statue?
I think we should look after our farmers first.
Yes,
I'm against your prioritizing.
We are doing that.
I think even Shivaji Maharaj would be against the way you are prioritizing.
Not at all.
If he saw these visuals today, I wonder what he would say.
See, priority-wise, agriculturists should always be there, and which is our priority. Shivaji Maharaj statue is also for last 20 years. This is pending, like Indu Mill, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar statue. That is also mark of respect. That is also required in this cultural society. Both the things should go hand in hand.
Let's open this up. Let's ask both our audience right now and the people on the panel. I want you to look at the screen. People in their 80s have walked for 180 kilometers, some of them more. They walked for 6 days. We make such a fuss when Milan Soman runs down the street. They walked for 6 days without shoes in order to make their voices heard. And consider this, viewers. Why would someone do this? Because you feel like the seat of power in the state is the city of Mumbai, and if you live in a village, nobody cares about your pain, and the only way to get attention is to walk with your pain and stand in front of the face of the people who make decisions, which is what these people had to do. This is not a laughing matter. We're going to come back to the fact that a lot of people also said that this was politically motivated. I'll come back to that, but first I want to open this up to the rest of the panel. I want to start with Mr. Chandrasekhar. Mr. Chandrasekhar,
Yep.
it's about priorities. It's about taxpayer money.
Yes.
Not only do we pay income tax, we pay a Krishi Kalyan cess.
Yep.
We pay a drought cess on petrol every time you put petrol. And every time you buy anything, you're paying cess on diesel, all of which should go towards looking after our farmers. But there's something horribly wrong with the way we are budgeting this money in the state of Maharashtra and how we are prioritizing our farmers over everything else.
I'm actually reminded of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's statement 60 years ago. He said, everything can wait except agriculture. And in the last 20 years at least, I think everything has moved forward except agriculture. Agriculture is still waiting. This, nationally, that's the first point I want to make. It's a tragedy. After all, 53% of the workforce is engaged in agriculture, living out of agriculture and allied activities. And yet, they have to share only 15% of the GDP pie. It's completely unequal. It is totally non-egalitarian, and it's completely anti-farmer kind of growth that we've had in the last so many years. But be that as it may, all that is history. Two things are very, very clear. Number one, we need real serious political will to implement agriculture growth programs. And we need first growth oriented policies, then we need appropriate investments, and we need the outlays for agriculture to get converted into outcomes. Unfortunately, there is no accountability on the part of any government, be it the center or the state governments, that they have to show me accounts of how these monies have been spent and what is the outcome. There is no outcome report, most unfortunately. Number one, you were asking, could this march have been avoided? Yes, it could have been avoided. I would have thought a very progressive, right-thinking chief minister like we have in Maharashtra should have just gone to Nashik. He should have taken the initiative of going there and meeting them and to allay their fears and to give them consolation, saying that he is seized of their issues and is going to do something. Why did they have to walk all the way to Bombay? And why did you allow 6 days for them to walk, and then you meet them in Mantralaya, dismiss them in half an hour, that we'll sort it out in 6 months? I think this is, politically, in my opinion, a suicidal delay. I'm sorry to be using very strong words, but this is not done. You can't treat farmers this way.
Mr. Raghunathan Dada Patil, who is a farm leader, joins us in the studio. Mr. Patil, do you believe that the assurances given to the farmers today, कि 6 महीने में हो जाएगा, मानते हैं आप 6 महीने में हो जाएगा?
नहीं, ये तो जो एश्योरेंस दिया है ये ही गलत है। ये तो हमारी मांग भी नहीं है। ये जो एश्योरेंस किया है, जो भी हमको आज उन्होंने वादा किया है, ये 6 महीने के तो है नहीं, लेकिन जो भी किया है वो भी सफिशिएंट नहीं है। ये जो बहुत ही पुरानी बीमारी है किसानों के बारे में, ये जो सरकार ने अभी पंडित जवाहरलाल जी का जिक्र किया गया, तो मैं आपको कहता हूं कि 1986 में साहेबराव करपे ने, उसकी बीवी और 2 बच्चियां 2 बच्चे, ऐसे 6 लोगों ने खुदकुशी की, और ये 1986 में हुआ। आज 32 इयर्स हो गए इसको, फिर भी सरकार ने कुछ किया नहीं है। इसमें जितने भी ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में बदलाव किए गए, ये किसानों के खिलाफ किए। ओरिजिनली कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन वाज इन फेवर ऑफ द फार्मर्स, बट जितने भी ये अमेंडमेंट हो गए, इसमें पहला अमेंडमेंट जो हुआ 18 जून 1951 में, कि जो उसमें हमारा अधिकार ही जमीन के ऊपर का निकाल लिया। दूसरा अमेंडमेंट हो गया 1955 में, जिसको इसेंशियल कमोडिटी एक्ट कहते हैं। उससे तो हमारा जितना भी हम क्रॉप पैदा करते हैं उसके ऊपर हमारा कुछ अधिकार भी नहीं रह गया। फिर भी जो लैंड एक्विजिशन एक्ट है, इतने बुरे एक्ट किए गए हैं कि उसका अभी जो 22 जनवरी 2018 में धर्मा पाटिल ने सुसाइड किया, वो तो केवल इस कानून का बली है। इस कानून के कारण ही इसको सुसाइड करना पड़ा। जितने भी सुसाइड हो रहे हैं ये सभी कानून बदलाव होना चाहिए। ये जैसे भी जितने भी कानून हुए हैं ये किसानों के खिलाफ हुए हैं और किसानों के खिलाफ काम हो रहा है। आज का जो काम हुआ है, इतने लोग चलते चलते आए, 6 दिन चलना पड़ा, इसकी कोई जरूरत नहीं थी। इसका असर क्या है कि लोगों की मांग क्या है कि 1 लाख करोड़ का हमको कर्ज का माफी मांगते हैं हम, और आप 10-10 करोड़ 20-20 करोड़ लोग, लाखों करोड़ों लोगों का, ये जो अभी शिवाजी महाराज का जिक्र हो रहा था कि अगर शिवाजी भी होते इस समय तो इसको काट डालते, इसके हाथ पांव काट देते इस सीएम के, क्योंकि ये तो खुदकुशियां किसान कर रहे हैं और ये स्टैचू बना रहे हैं। इतना गलत काम शिवाजी को भी पसंद नहीं आएगा, डॉक्टर बाबा साहब अम्बेडकर होते तो भी उनको ये पसंद नहीं आएगा। लेकिन ये बहुत ही बुरा राज चल रहा है, किसानों के अच्छे दिन तो है नहीं है, इतना मैं कहूंगा।
But I want to bring in also at this point Mr. Kishore Tiwari, who has been advising the Maharashtra's government on a panel on the farm loan waivers. Mr. Tiwari, the Maharashtra government has been very confident about its ability to hand out these farm loan waivers, but now the same government has had to agree to create a panel to monitor the farm loan waiver distribution. So there is an acceptance here that something was going wrong.
No, what is happening? I would like to thankful this left organized long march. They have brought this agrarian crisis to the forefront once again. But the demands which we have been facing in Vidarbha and Marathwada is regarding loan waiver given by the state. That is the one thing. That is one thing. Loan waiver given to the farmers who are the debt trap. Then minimum support price to our cotton, soybean, pulses, and now the gram. And third is the compensation to be paid to the pink bollworm. So even it was a left organized, we supported and urged the government to respond it positively. Government has responded it. What discussion has been done with these organizers of the this long march, I don't know, but they have called off the strikes and government has once again borrowed the time to give the sustainable solutions. But when this loan waiver was given, we were told that the amount will be of the 34,000 crore and 70 lakhs farmers will be covered in that loan waiver. Recently, my corporation minister has declared that they are covering 35 lakh, they have already covered 35 lakh farmers and amount is 13,000 crore. So there is something which is fishy in their announcements or the earlier announcement. But when I have been moving as a task force chairman in Vidarbha and Marathwada, the loan waiver has not been implemented by the banks. That's a great concern of my farmers. So, giving fresh credit to almost debt trapped 70 lakh farmer is the task before the Maharashtra government. But the demand of the organizers were having a blanket loan waiver without any norms and the condition. I don't know what happened to that. But other demand was related to the cost and minimum support price to the agrarian commodities, and presently what we have been suffering a lot, that our cotton, soybean, then pulses, then gram farmers are forced to give the distress sale and they have been selling in the prices which are much below the minimum support price. So that is the great concern of my people. And thirdly, we have been told recently the stringent norms have been introduced for giving the compensation to the pink bollworm, and maximum farmers will be denied the compensation as announced by the state. State has announced earlier 3-layer compensation. One is from NDRF, second is from the insurance companies, third is from the seed manufacturing company. But for the crop losses, they have taken the averages of last 5 years.
So,
and this is happening for the first time. And having taken the averages of last 5 years, we are losing all farmers are denied the compensation this year, and that is the matter of concern. So whether the organizers have discussed these core issues of the credit, crop and compensation,
Right.
I am not aware.
Right.
Why the
I want to
committees have
also
been
bring in. I
started,
want to also
why
bring in
the
Santosh
next
Mehrotra.
solutions will be given.
Yes, I want to bring in Santosh Mehrotra, and Mr. Kishore Tiwari making two excellent points here. He works on the ground. He said banks have not implemented the farm loan waiver, and stringent norms are being placed right now on any sort of compensation. As a result, most of the people who are entitled to compensation are likely to get denied. Mr. Mehrotra, this is not specifically a Maharashtra problem. Farmers are currently in distress across the country.
Quite right. Farmers are in distress across the whole country, and it's hardly surprising that banks are attempting to limit their liabilities, even though they may be facing some degree of pressure from the state government, or for that matter the central government. But you and I know that banks are facing non-performing assets. Banks are also facing frauds. So in that kind of situation, why are we surprised that banks are trying to minimize their liabilities? You know, this repeated situation where state governments, or for that matter the union government, has to give loan waivers arises because agriculture has historically been neglected in our country, and there has never been a decade in our post-independence history when agricultural output growth or income growth has been higher than 3.2% per annum. Now contrast that with East Asia, where it was in that period between 1950 and 80, 6%, meaning double that. What is the meaning of that? A country first must go through an agricultural revolution before it undergoes an industrial revolution. But if agriculture remains neglected, then these crises recur. I mean, okay, 2014 was a drought year, 2015 was a drought year, very unfortunate. But, if we had been preparing for droughts wouldn't affect income so badly. And then, of course, in 2016, you had a good monsoon, and demonetization happened just at the time when the produce was brought to the market. So for 3 years running, farmers faced a collapse in their incomes. Those who are indebted obviously are left with no choice but to commit suicide or ask for loan waiver. This is a repeated crisis that goes on. In this agitation, there is a very specific situation arising out of the fact that there is a 2006 Forest Rights Act which enables tribals who live in forests to till land and then get a patta in their name, which was a requirement of the Forest Rights Act. Now new farmers apparently have not been getting that, and that's the reason why, as the BJP's and the government has been explaining, the Forest Rights Act being a national law, this has to be, and forests are under the control of supposedly the central government. It will take another 6 months for approvals to come in, for pattas to be issued to these
But Mr.
tribal
Mehrotra, I'm
farmers
actually going to crystallize this debate into one question right now. Just one question. You're right, it's going to take another 6 months. My question is, if it can take 6 months, why wasn't it done already? Because this is not a new problem, this is not a new demand, this is not a fresh question that the farmers are asking, or that they thought up on their way from Nasik. Why wasn't it already done?
I agree with you. Of course, Faye, I agree with you. I agree with you entirely. I think it's not been done for decades, and which is the reason why we keep getting into this repeated crisis where loan waivers have and after all, Forest Rights Act is 2006.
Yes.
So the problem with the implementation of the Forest Rights Act, which has been around now for 12 years, has been that the forest officials, the forest department, is not entirely happy about, giving pattas. They want to retain control, and those are the problems.
Yes.
So, in other words, the forest officials have to be, and the forest department needs to be brought in line. in order to ensure these poor farmers don't have to march all over again. I mean, these poor tribal farmers.
Let me bring in Rahul Maske as well. Rahul Maske,
85-year-old woman.
Yes. Rahul Maske is the leader of the Shetkari Sangathan. Rahul Maske ji, क्या आप मानते हैं कि अभी गवर्नमेंट ने जो आश्वासन दिए कि 6 महीने में हो जाएगा, आप मानते हैं कि 6 महीने में हो सकता है कि हो जाएगा?
Yes, Faye. See, I would like to come back to the statement made by Vishwas Pathak earlier that not all farmers are poor. I mean, I would like to put it this way, bigger the farmer, bigger is his debt. You see, whatever the commitment the state government is giving to the farmers right now, the big question is where the money is going to come from. Because recently the state finance minister has presented a budget which has a deficit of 15,000 crores. And you are talking about the statue of Shivaji. Nobody is against statue of Shivaji in Maharashtra because Shivaji is really in the heart and soul of all Maharashtrians. But the issue is, are we going to see a statue of Shivaji in tears because his farmers are dying? So we are deadly against this money coming in from the government kitty for building up the statue of Shivaji. People can donate for the statue and the statue can come up. So the question now is, why is the farmer dying? And that has to be addressed. And we have seen that the government been changing from UPA to NDA and NDA to UPA, but we have not seen any change in policy. Only the heads have been changed. So as Raghunath Dada had pointed out earlier, all the draconian laws which have been really putting the farmers on the back seat has to be scrapped. Might be Land Ceiling Act, it can be Essential Commodity Act, it can be APMC Act, all the Wildlife Protection Act, which is again really pulling back the farmers. If at all we want the farmer to come out of this situation, we should make them rich. And farmer can only become rich if farming is made profitable. So we need to have the policy. See, the government boasts that they are going to spend so and so money on Jalyukta Shivar and all those things, but is it going to make farmer rich? Because today the prices of tomato in the Narayangaon Mandi near Pune is 1 rupee a kilo. So see, and we are not giving any information to the farmers that how much tomato is being planted, how much it should be planted, and if it is planted in excess, they should stop. All these signals we can really give them by the use of technology. Even the Google map can sense everything. Why can't we use Google map to see how much crop is being planted and give them the information earlier? So all these things, you see, has to be implemented. The government basically has today assured the Adivasi farmers about their some of their demands that the land should be in their names. Whosoever is tilling the land, he should be the landowner. That was their prime demand. Then there was some river integration, river amalgamation schemes, some river flowing from the Adivasi areas. They are going to build some check dam and all those things. Fine, it's fine, but still we want some clear ideas or clear programs from the government that the farming should be made profitable.
But Vishwas Pathak, I want to come back to it. Doesn't look like the panel is impressed.
Each and every time. What we have done in last 70 years, we have made farmers dependent on the government.
Yes.
Rather, we are a democratic country, but are we really free?
But it doesn't sound. One second. Mr. Vishwas Pathak, it doesn't sound like this panel is impressed, including Mr. Kishore Tiwari is not impressed.
Mandi system,
yes.
And
now, I want to ask you about what.
It is not just possible for the government to procure everything the farmers grow.
Right. I want to ask you about what Mr. Tiwari said. Stringent norms are being brought in to deny compensation. The farm loan waivers are not being implemented by the banks. There are several problems and he is on the ground right now. He is telling you that there are problems. Nobody on the panel was impressed by the promises made today, by the 6-month deadline, or by the Maharashtra government's ability to prioritize a statue over real people. Your response, please.
See, the delegation of Long March, they sat with our government, they exchanged the ideas, and they are satisfied and they are going back happily and they will see the results within 6 months' time. I want to discuss some larger issue.
No, let's discuss these issues.
See, everybody is talking about so many things. I'll just tell you, when this Nehruian model started, what was that model? He said...
Shall we? No, hang on. Mr. Vishwas Pathak, see, we all have limited time. I have limited time on this panel. Can we go back in time and throw Nehru out as the Prime Minister of this country?
No, I'm telling the legacy of that policy.
I don't care about the legacy of the policy. I did not vote this generation and the people you were seeing on the panel and the people who walked from Nasik to Mumbai did not vote to make Nehru the Prime Minister of this country. Let's talk about today. Let's talk about
if you're talking about Long March, they are pretty happy. They are satisfied. They have gone back. There is no question of discussing all those things.
There's no question of discussing all these things.
I'm making a small thing.
The people who are,
no, very small thing. Very small thing. Nehru's model said we have to give food product at very cheap rate.
Today
at the same time, we have to give compensation also in high.
Don't talk to me about Nehru. I'm not
this
falling for it.
And thing is a legacy, and therefore minimum support price.
Then you should have said
was introduced by this government.
Then Vishwas Pathak, in your manifesto when you were fighting elections, you should say Nehru ne kiya, bhai hum kuch nahi kar sakte. We are not going to be able to change anything. Don't expect anything.
Now let me come to what our priorities. Our priorities are very clear. Our priorities are very clear.
Vishwas ji, I will ask you one question.
Nehru
had done anything wrong. All his work is wrong, but why you are not changing policies now? You have a central government and you have a state government. Why you are not changing the laws and these policies?
I am coming to that only. I am coming to that only.
Central government and state government are run by the same party. It takes 6 months for you to pass a system through. The whole point of having the same party, central government and state government, is that you can get the work done faster. Why does it take 6 months?
3-4 years is not sufficient time to change everything.
Did you say that in your manifesto? What did you promise in your manifesto?
MSP was the concept brought by our government when Atalji was Prime Minister. Swaminathan Committee was instituted by Atal Bihari Vajpayee.
Okay, you just said that the last 70 years were a complete waste.
By the Manmohan Singh. You don't tell
No, 2004. Mr. Raghunath Dada, 2004, Atal Bihari Vajpayee instituted that committee. Swaminathan's report was pending.
You just said that the last 60-70 years of this country has been a complete waste of legacy.
Yes, of course,
so
because of wrong policies.
Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government.
Policies that sell food at minimum cost and give maximum returns to the farmers. How it is possible commercially? And that whole legacy is bothering us now. And therefore this MSP concept which we are implementing.
Okay. So tell me this. State of Maharashtra's farmer crisis. Worst hit agricultural sector, which is down, negative growth of 8.3% in the last 1 year from a robust increase of 22% in 2016-17. Over the last year, food grains degrowth minus 22%, oil seeds minus 18%, cotton minus 44%, production of horticulture crops and vegetables is down negative minus 14%. Is this Nehru's fault?
Now let me complete. It was true that this negative growth went into double digit of 10% when our government came into power. Because of drought, this has gone down from 10%. So it is a reduction in increase. So from 10% it has come down, therefore it is negative. And the very reason is that because of the less rainfall. But if you compare 2013 and 14... I
thought that was what agriculture was for.
No, let me tell you.
And irrigation was
I am telling you what are the priorities and how we are efficiently managing it. In 2013 and 14, rainfall was 124%. This year it was 82%. Despite of that, we have maintained same production.
Mr. Chandrasekhar,
that shows how optimum utilization of resources we are doing.
You are not maintaining
and that is the efficiency of this government.
Mr. Chandrasekhar,
let me give you correct facts. 7th 5-year plan, our average annual agriculture growth rate was 8%. Each year, 8% annual average during the 7th 5-year plan, which dropped to 4.2% in the 8th 5-year plan. Again, remember, annual average growth rate in the 8th 5-year plan was 4.2%. 9th 5-year plan, 10th 5-year plan, 11th 5-year plan, for 15 years, the annual average growth rate in agriculture across India was just about 3%. In fact, hovering between 2.8 and 3%. And in the 12th 5-year plan, it was about 3.2% or something. Our target over the last 20 years has been 4% annual average GDP growth. We were nowhere closer to achieving that annual average growth. This is a matter of fact, matter of record, anybody can check. This is number one. Number two, what went wrong? What went wrong was, one, we did not give adequate, we did not make adequate investment in agriculture for agriculture growth. Number one. Number two, we did not invest enough monies in irrigation. We did not spend enough monies for rural infrastructure. We did not build capacity amongst farmers. We did not use technology for increasing agriculture production and productivity. Input supplies were completely inadequate. Bank credit did not flow to a small and marginal farmer. It went to all the big farmers. I think a whole lot of things went wrong, both at the central government level and at the state government level. This has to be corrected. But my sense very strongly is the federal government, the central government has been around now for 4 years. The state government has been around for 3.5 years. Right. I concede, yes, 2014 and 15 you had drought. There was a serious challenge. But I'm sure 16 and 17 were by and large normal years, and therefore I think the government should have demonstrated lot more proactive policy making and come up with growth oriented policies.
All right. Let me open this up to a rebuttal to what Mr. Vishwas Pathak was saying. He said that it's a legacy of bad policy that we have actually inherited, which is why we are not able to battle it. Santosh Mehrotra, go ahead, please.
Well, it may be the case that there's been a legacy of bad policies, but I think several speakers have already pointed out that this government has also been in power for 3 to 4 years. So, I mean, you can't blame everything on Nehru. 52. Yes. It's been 52 years since Nehru died. I'm sorry. Where's the logic? What am I to say? That's so self-evident. I don't know what else to say.
Mr. Rahul Maske, respond to the fact that Mr. Vishwas Pathak says you can't change anything in 3 to 4 years. Or can't change everything in 3 to 4 years.
Yes.
Yes. Rahul Maske.
Yes. No, I strongly object to that. Because see, when our forefathers were doing farming, in Marathi we used to call Uttam Sheti, Madhyam Vyapar and Kanishta Nokri. The Sheti, the farming was Uttam that time. We were number one, the farmers. Now, after we got independence, all the Samajwadi principles which we have been implementing till date is the main cause that Sheti has become from Uttam, it has become Kanishta. And Nokri has become Uttam nowadays. And we see why not. Because if you are giving a 7th pay commission, everyone wants to become a Nokar Shah. So there the discrimination is there. So we are feeding the Nokar Shah. And have you ever seen a Nokar Shah dying of in debt or something like that because of the financial crisis? No. We are seeing farmers dying because of the financial crisis. So here is the discrimination where we can really see where the rulers are doing it. It can be Congress or it can be BJP. All are doing the same things. We have not seen any vision from the leaders of this nation lately to get the farmer out of the crisis. And as we have been saying in Shetkari Sangatna for all these years, we really need to be free from the clutches of the government. And what the government is doing is they are making us more and more dependent on them, and this is really pulling us down and down. So we really want free. We want everything, the market has to be free. We want exports to be, farm exports to be free, and only then we will get the proper remuneration for our produce, and then we'll become profitable and we'll become rich, and I think the prices will go and everything will follow after that. So basically we really want to be free. We are in a democracy, but I think the farmers of the nation are not free at all. And that's
I think that Rahul Maske used a very, very important word here, and we've heard it being used over and over again. He said rulers. There are no rulers in our country. There are people who govern. You are not a ruler. You are not a king. You will not sit on your throne in South Mumbai and wait for people to walk in the sun for 180 kilometers to the foot of your throne and then ask you to benevolently bestow upon them what is rightfully theirs. You are not kings. You are democratically chosen leaders. You have to give us accountability for the money that you're using, and you have to do your job. Mr. Vishwas Pathak, is there a misunderstanding here of kings and rulers in a democratic country?
Not at all. As far as the long march is concerned, this very government requested them that we will discuss at the initial point of Nasik only. But they denied. They wanted this long march.
Yes. And
therefore we were tracking from Shahapur. We wanted to discuss. But still they wanted to come here. They came here, we discussed. and everything is amicably settled.
Let me one second. I just want to bring in Mr. Himanshu, professor with the Center of Economic Studies. I apologize, Himanshu, we've just got your audio back. If you can hear me, I apologize for coming to you this late. But if you've been listening in so far, what is your response to the answers we're getting right now? Because I'm still upset with that one question. If it can be done in 6 months, on one hand we have Vishwas Pathak saying that there's a 6 months promise that has been given. On the other hand, he's saying nothing can be done in 3 or 4 years. In fact, what you promised to do in 6 months, you could have done 8 times over in 4 years.
Well, you've already discussed most of it, so I don't think there is anything more to add to that, and I think whatever you have been saying in that sense, the question that you are asking is very valid. I think it somewhere has to do with the intention of the government, and I think some points need to be brought out on record, which is that this government, when the country was going through a severe drought in 2014 and 15, was also the one which basically reduced investment in agriculture. Now that's something which no government will do ever, particularly when the economy is going into, particularly the agrarian economy is going into a crisis. Look at the record that they have done in terms of agricultural credit, or if you look at the record in terms of expenditure on agriculture, various schemes in agriculture, or even in terms of the money that they have allocated to price support mechanism. So I think somewhere this whole promise that we are going to do it, but if you look at the record for the last 4 years, that this government, particularly of this government I'm talking about, not going to the past, it's very clear that this government has contributed to the situation that the farmers are today. And there is absolutely, no two words about it. All sorts of arguments that this has happened 50 years back, 60 years, and farmers are always in crisis. It doesn't really cut ice, especially when you are basically contributing to a situation where the rural economy, and I'm talking about not just the agrarian economy, even the non-agricultural economy, and therefore one has to talk about jobs, one has to talk about agricultural wages, one has to talk about the demand in the rural economy, and look at all of this, and you will come to only one conclusion, and that is that the record of this government is anti-farmer. There are no two words about it.
The record of this government is anti-farmer. Mr. Vishwas Pathak, please respond to that.
See, he may have his own opinion, but this government is pro-farmers. If you look at the budgetary support of Maharashtra government, we are giving maximum allocation for farmers. This year also it is 75,000 crores. I just want to tell you how efficiently and how well this government is functioning. In 2013 and 14, rainfall was 124%. This year it was 82%. The production is same. What does it mean? It means with optimum utilization of resources, we are producing same kind of food grains. One more thing I can tell you, when we took over as a government, the loan was 3 lakhs crores on this state. Today it has gone up to 4 lakhs crores.
So why are the farmers still killing
Let me complete for your viewers. When 3 lakhs crore loan was there, our GSDP was 16 lakhs crores. With 1 lakh additional loan, this GSDP has gone up to 24 lakhs crores. It means optimum utilization, no corruption, and we are doing it for farmers in terms of irrigation, in terms of water table. 5 lakh TMC water reservoirs have been created. We are giving maximum compensation to the farmers. I think you have to look at it very positively.
Right. Mr. Kishore Tiwari will respond to that. Look at it positively. So what if the numbers of suicides have been going up steadily over the last couple of years? I'm sure there's a silver lining. Kishore Tiwari, go ahead, please.
I agree with Vishwas that the Chief Minister of Maharashtra has been trying his level best to address the main issues. But today's the government has taken 6 months time. It means that the core issue of this long march was related to the land rights for the tribals. And the state has initiated the amendment with the national government that this problem should be sorted out. And the protesters were happy to return along with the promise. But I was told that the issue of a complete loan waiver, the issue of a minimum support price and issue of the cotton growers compensation is the demand. But whether Raghunath Dada Patil or other people are aware, I don't know, but nothing is being discussed about that. So, if you look at the Devendra Fadnavis' initial steps, addressing the core issues of the credit, cost, and the compensation. He is in a right direction. But the implementing agencies like banks, like their babus, are really too hostile to implement everything. Because if you look at the complete loan waiver, I think 1,50,000, 90% distressed farmer is being covered. So having given that loan waiver, our 90% farmers, around 7 million farmers in a distressed area will get that loan waiver. But
90% farmers को मिला
cut-off date given by my honorable chief minister.
No,
was
you
the
are
15
giving wrong
August,
information,
15
Mr. Tiwari ji. After declaration of this loan waiving, the farmer suicides increased, and still after declaration of this date, still today, there is about 2,000 farmers have taken suicide. Why this number is increasing after the declaration of the loan waiving? You are declaring only 1,50,000. What about the loan more than 1,50,000? Another thing is you are giving the loan waiving of the DCC banks and only the nationalized banks. What about the cooperative, other cooperative rural banks and this microfinance and the educational loan and all loans? What about all these loans?
Let me
all
complete.
these loans are because of you
Why
are
you
not
making so much
giving the export policy and you are not giving.
Let me speak, Baba. I am speaking for the farmers only. You are sitting in Mumbai and talking about the farmers, and Western Maharashtra, you don't know about the Vidarbha and Marathwada.
No, you are doing only the discrimination in the Western Maharashtra and Marathwada. You are not giving the proper price to the cotton of the Vidarbha.
Don't try to irritate me.
You are not giving the proper price to the Vidarbha's cotton.
All right, gentlemen, let's calm down. There are some very grave questions that everybody is asking.
Why are you
one second. So there are different points of view. Obviously, Mr. Tiwari is in Nagpur, Mr. Maske is in Pune, and Raghunath Dada is in Mumbai. Here, Rahul Maske wants to come in. Rahul, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. Now I want to ask Mr. Patak whether he can tell his High Command to do certain things, and these are our demands. First is that stop giving additional capital to the banks, privatize all banks in India, and put that capital into the agriculture sector. Sharad Joshi used to say when we were agitating in the 80s and 90s that sarva karza anaitik, all loans are illegal, and he used to say they are not to be paid. At that time, the figure which we had calculated was 1,50,000 crore was the money which the government owes to the farmers. So we want that money which you are putting in as a capital to the bank to be given once in all to the bank to waive the farm loans. Second is privatize all electric companies as we have done with the mobile companies earlier, and allow free beef exports. If you allow that, I think the farmers will get good money out of their cattle trade, and I think you can see some of the situation improving, and we will see
will you allow that?
If farmers will become profitable in coming days. If you can do all these things, we need a big privatization drive, because government machinery has been found highly inefficient in these days. And will you allow this? I want to ask the panelists from the BJP here.
All right, I have to actually wrap up this discussion here because we've run out of time, but it simply boils down to this. The long march has now ended and the farmers will be on their way home by special trains organized from the Chhatrapati Shivaji terminus that will take them back to Nasik. But what are they leaving here with? Some hospitality that was showed to them by the citizens of Mumbai, but more importantly, promises given to them by the state government of Maharashtra in writing that their demands will be met and fulfilled in 6 months' time. We're a country that is taught to respect our elders and to treat them with care. But we allowed the elderly Annadatas of our state to walk for 180 kilometers, sometimes barefoot, in 35 degrees scorching heat to ask for their rights. And now we promise to do something in 6 months that we haven't been able to do in 4 years, or the 5 years of the government before that, or the 5 years of the government before that, and so on. The truth is, every single political party has failed our farmers, every single one of them. They only look at the farmers and they only pay attention in an election year. At some point, the farmers are going to wisen up to that. Stay with Mirror now for more news and updates, but thanks for watching.